tuning into the Spicy Booknook, where we discuss all of our favorite and not so favorite dark and dirty book series. We're your hosts, Aj
and Tay. So without further ado, let's get into it. Today we will be reviewing Bait by Jade West. Please be aware that there will be spoilers and explicit content for mature audiences only.
Trigger warnings for this book. We couldn't find the list, but pretty much it's consensual, non-consensual sex. That's pretty much the main trigger warning.
Yeah.
So if you're not into that, this probably is not the book for you. Not saying I'm into that, but I don't kink shame, so we let it fly.
Period.
And we have a special guest today, guys, so we're very excited. Who's going to weigh in on this book with us?
Hi, Layla. Thank you for coming on our show.
Well, thank you for having me. This is so cool. I've never done anything like this before. I love it. There aren't enough podcasts about like spicy or smutty books. Like there's not much that you can find out there. So it's like nice to hear other people talking about it. So it was really funny listening to the first podcast you guys posted about Haunting Adeline. I was like answering you like you were in the room with me. I'm like, Layla, they can't hear you.
Well, this makes it better then, because now you're actually here with us. So
yes, exactly.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, so what did you guys think of the book?
I rated it a 3.
A 3?
I was at like 3.5.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, I think I rated it a 3.
I tend to go easier on books. You guys are more critical than I am. I'm like, oh yeah, I loved it, but I like most books I read. So.
No, I feel like we're the same way. Like we kind of rate books 5s all the time, but I don't know. This one was just not my dealio, you know?
I didn't mind it. It was okay. It was okay. It was just I get the whole bait thing and I know what they were trying to like achieve, but I don't feel like they really like hit the hammer on the head. Like I don't think they really got exactly what they were like the author was looking for out of it, if that makes sense.
I just feel like it was just the sex scenes that were in this book. I felt like it was repetitive to where it was just like the same sex scene over and over and over again. And so like I get it, it's bait, like okay, you want him to come chase you. You want like I get that, but I'm like, can we get something else? Like we're just gonna read the same sex scene 3-4 times? Like that I think that's what lost me. Because in the beginning, when she's like messaging him, I'm like, ooh, this is nice. Like, this is fun. They're going to meet up. And then after that, it's like, okay. Then the second time it happens, and I'm like, okay. And then the third time it happens, and I'm like,
it's the same
okay.
thing.
Like, are we going to get something else? We're just going to keep reading the same scene over and over, just in different places. Like,
I was so excited for the book. Like, I really was, like, super excited. Like, every time we would record an episode, I'd be like, oh, we get to read Bait soon. And it hit a plateau. I enjoyed, like, getting to know backstories and, like, knowing, like, what they went through. Like, because Shawty went through trauma. But knowing he went through trauma too, and, like, that even like the sexual parts, like he had a pierced penis and shit like that was cool. But when they got to the actual sex scenes, I was like, it's the same shit over and over.
They were short, they were boring, they were repetitive. And it was, I don't know, like most of the time, if authors are trying to describe like a bait type of situation, like the chasing, first of all, there's different types of chasing. And second, it lasts longer. It's like he caught you and that was the end of it. And then you just cut to the chase and you're like, this, like, the whole point of like a bait and a monster, I guess, is like you want to build up the chase and there was like no real build up. You're just like, oh, okay, he caught you in this perfectly planned event and now you're just gonna have sex and that's great. And yeah, exactly that. It was like the same thing again and again. And I'm like, I liked the storyline, but I found the scenes boring.
I agree. I feel like she could have did more with that. And also like I don't know, like even the fact that they're like, okay, like I feel like it would have been kind of sexier if maybe he didn't plan out exactly to the T,
Hmm.
like, where they were going and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
okay, like if we're gonna play this game, I'll give you my location, and then I don't want to know when it's gonna happen. Like, I want it to be completely like I'm bait and I'm literally have no clue. It was more like he's like, okay, we're gonna meet at this place at this time. You're gonna walk through this trail, and it's like, okay, so I get it, but also I'm like, it's just not giving the fantasy fully for me. Like,
No, and like he's supposed to be someone who enjoys the chase, but how can you enjoy the chase if you're not really chasing her? You planned the whole thing. If you know where she's gonna be, are you really chasing her?
No.
Like,
I,
yeah.
I thought it was gonna give like the ritual when
same.
Rocket like kidnaps Blakely.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the vibe I was picturing in my head. Like, I was like, okay, this is gonna be really sexy. Like, it's gonna be completely unexpected. Like, in my mind, I'm like, okay, she's gonna be talking to this man, and like when he pulls up on her or takes her, like she's literally gonna have no fucking clue, and it's gonna like blindside her. That's what I where I was thinking, but then it was just too planned out for it to actually be
Yeah.
that fantasy for me.
Yeah, because he was like, meet me at a
Mhm.
bar, and
Exactly
like
what I was
once
thinking.
you leave the bar, like you'll walk down this road. And it was just like she anticipated what was coming. So like the shock and surprise of like the CNC was not there.
Yeah.
I also didn't really like the insta love. Like you guys fucked three times, twice or three times, and then suddenly she's like, I think I'm in love with him. Like, what do you mean? You haven't had any
Crazy.
real conversation with him. You just fucked him
Crazy.
three times.
Oh my
You
god.
don't even know this man. Y'all
I'm
haven't had a
glad.
full sit down at all.
For real, I'm so glad I'm not the only one to think of that, because I'm like, when y'all had some conversations on the computer, they were
Yeah.
not deep conversations at all. They were very surface level. Like, you guys just established the fact that you both have been hurt before.
Hmm.
Okay, womp. Like, that's very surface level. And then you have sex with this man. He's like giving the vibe like, oh, she's mine, and she's like, I just love him. I'm like, ma'am, what? You don't, this man is a stranger. He is a
Right.
stranger. You don't even know what is going on with him, and you think you love him. That's
Yeah.
I'm
As
like
soon as I read that line, I rolled my eyes. I'm like, are you kidding me?
I'm
Like,
like, you love
really?
him over some mediocre bait sex. That's
Exactly.
crazy. That's crazy.
I did think she was crazy. Like, how you on the internet, like, typing up this sexual fantasy? And mind you, I don't kink shame, so do what you do. But, like, you are literally messaging for some random man to come and rape you. And that to me is like really crazy. Like, I know to me it gave crackhead because crack is bad. Crack is horrible. So like you're just doing a horrible drug and like you're seeking a high for it and getting raped and looking for any man on the internet for him to do it is just as bad as crack. I'm sorry.
No, it's true. And usually with like in real life with CNC, like there's a lot of communication. She didn't even want to say for it. I'm like, what do you mean you don't want to say for it?
That
There's no
part.
such thing. Like, what do you mean?
You don't even know this man. You don't know what lengths he's gonna go to. Like, you've
Yeah.
literally never met this person. You don't want a safe word. You don't
Exactly.
even know if this is a safe person. Okay,
You in
like,
danger, girl.
like you are putting yourself in danger, and you're like, no safe word. Like, I'm good, girl. Are you fucking crazy? What is wrong with you?
No, she was nuts. I was like, this is insane. There's no way anybody would ever go on the internet. And like, yeah, sure, there are plenty of sites where you can go and you can like find somebody who's like kinks match yours, but there's a lot of conversation. Like you can't just, especially something like that, to just jump in with a person you've never met, you don't know. Oh, what do you know that like what did they say? There was a line, I loved hard and I lost harder, something like that.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
same line that they repeated 5 million times. And I'm like, we get it. Okay, we fucking get it. Jesus, why do we have to keep going on with this stupid line? I hated that line. I really
And it
did.
wasn't even clear what happened to her ex. Like so they had a relationship. I guess he was already married. And then she had a miscarriage and he never showed up when she miscarried. And how far
Yeah,
along was she? Like,
he was like, I
yeah.
don't want no parts of you having a baby, so like
And
I'm
that
out.
was it. Like, we got no backstory into anything. Like, it didn't take us into like the relationship she had with that man, so we could even have like a better understanding of what their vibe was. Like, it was just, we didn't get anything.
That's true. No complete backstory on what exactly, like,
Okay.
how close they were in their relationship. Because she could have been tripping. She could have just been a side chick and didn't play her part, you know?
Hmm.
You're right, but we wouldn't we wouldn't know that because we didn't get anything.
It was weird. Like he just kind of did, and then the author, what her name, Jade West, she went into extreme detail about the miscarriage itself and the way she bled out. And it was trying, I know what she was trying to do and like relive the trauma, but in,
Traumatic, girl.
yeah. And it was like in that trauma, I still have no idea what happened to you. Like I
Mm.
kind of pieced together, okay, he was married and he stayed with his wife, but like what else? Like what
That,
happened?
yeah, like she left it to us to kind of figure out. Like, she's like, I'm gonna give clues, and then it'll be up to you guys to like figure out what happened. And I don't like, girl, just tell me what the hell happened. I don't want to be
Yes.
playing
Bec-
fucking clue over.
well, they went on and on about Mariana and his, like her
Girl.
backstory, his girlfriend, but
Nothing about her.
nothing about
Like,
hers. Like I even forget his name. Like I can't even remember.
Leo, I think was
Gerald,
his
No,
name.
Leo, but
Leo?
the old boyfriend. What
but
was the old?
the
Oh, I don't know that man's name.
Yeah, see? They did say it, but I think they said it like once or twice.
Yeah, but I mean, he was just not important, apparently. I felt like he should have been a little bit more important, but he wasn't at all.
No, I mean, her trauma is just as important as Leo's. So how come they went into all of this extreme detail about how it affected him and how it affected his whole family? All because of
Right.
one crazy girl. Okay, I get it. She was a nutbag, but like, I don't even understand why she was crazy. So your brother really liked her and you really liked her, and he just got super jealous. And then one day they end up at the warehouse together and accidentally blow the whole thing up. Like,
Yeah, that
again,
was some bullshit.
yeah, it
to
was
get to that point
weird.
was very strange. I was like, and then at the end, like the brother admits, like, oh, I lied. Like, me and her really didn't have anything going on, but then like thought they had something going on this whole time. So that's just strange because I'm like, so you're staying with a girl who you think is fucking your brother, but
Hmm.
you're still gonna stay with her because you're like, oh, well, she's just crazy. What? that
Hmm.
makes that makes
Yeah.
no sense. Like, why would you stay with her just because you think she's crazy? And then in the end, the brother's like, oh, sorry. Like, I wasn't fucking her actually. Like, I just made it up. What is wrong with y'all?
That made
Right.
no sense to
Right.
me. I'm like, at least if this guy was crazy, it would make sense if she played him. You know, she made it out to seem like
Yes.
she was sleeping with both of the brothers and she kept telling Jake, oh, I'm going to leave Leo for you. Like, all of those things would have
That's
made
where I
more
thought,
sense than him lying.
yeah.
Yeah. Like, what
I
was the point of him lying to his brother? Like, that should have never been happening.
Oh, and his name made me laugh how so Leo changed his name to Phoenix and then Jake changed his name to Ash because unlike Phoenix, he doesn't rise from the ashes. I actually laughed so hard when I read that. It was supposed to be like dark and I don't know, whatever, but you're supposed
like
to
It
feel
wasn't.
for the
serious.
character. Instead, I found it funny. I'm like, that's really so you just changed. First of all, I don't even know why Jake changed his name to begin with. Like you're not
Right.
15. Like what's wrong with you? You know, like,
There was no point in them changing their names at all.
no,
That's
they
what
didn't
it is.
even keep it. Like the first moment he had to introduce himself as this brand new person who whatever rose from the ashes and now he's a phoenix. When her friends were like, "So who is this?" He goes, and she doesn't even know his name, and he goes, "I'm Leo." Okay, but I thought you've been telling your sister this whole time that your name's not Leo anymore, that you're Phoenix now. So now you're back to being Leo because she magically healed you with her vagina? Like what?
And that's that's also one of the points of this book is it's like, okay, so you met her online, you guys are talking, you meet up, you guys have your little rape skit, and then y'all both are healed. Like, she's like, oh, I had sex with him and now I'm going outside.
That part.
Now
I
I
see
Oh
the
my God.
sunshine. Yeah.
neighbors. Oh my gosh, I
Again,
haven't talked. I've never talked to my neighbors, but the dick was so bomb. I went and talked to my next door neighbor, and now I'm healed. What?
crackhead, crackhead activities.
What
Okay,
is
let me tell
going
you, when you do
on?
crack, you love everything. Okay,
Right?
when she got the dick, she loved everything.
That was so like. I'm like, so you slept with him one time, and now you're like this citizen of the community, and you're like talking to everybody and have this relationship, and you're healed. You feel so much better now.
You
Y'all didn't even
know,
have a conversation. Y'all literally just had sex, and then you left. He left. Like there was no aftercare there. There was no anything.
Nothing.
Like
nothing. Like, oh
to
my
where
And she was
God.
build
talking
up
about like
that.
stumbling and being in pain. And she loved all of it. She loved being completely disoriented. She loved being confused. She loved her body aching. She loved her clothes being ripped apart. She loved being left in the middle of nowhere. All of this was just wonderful. Cause
Like
she like it's just
But girl, like you are over here talking about you like this sex and like it just changed your whole life, and I did not understand that. Like
no.
I felt like it was cute. Like mind you, she went through a lot of trauma, so I'm always for, us getting out of trauma and getting out of our depressions and being in our good moods. But girl, it was just not given
It,
realistic because
it's never
what?
that good. Like it sex can be great, but it
No.
ain't ever that good. No
The
dick
dick
will
is
ever
never
heal me, I
that good. Oh my
promise.
God. Like, oh my God, my depression is cured.
that
Exactly.
part really made me laugh though. I was like, okay, you slept with this man, and now you're like, wow, I finally noticed my neighbor. I never talked to her before, but now I notice her and I want to know her name and talk to her.
Bitch
What?
was bouncing
I'm
off the streets. Like,
It
bitch was
literally
having a
like
good time, snapping her fingers, walking down the street singing. Like,
lit-
no.
and it
and she
boils her the entire like so your boyfriend left you or the guy that was cheating on his wife left you for his wife after you experienced a supposedly like super traumatic miscarriage and then you leave your town, you leave your friends, you leave your family, you're barely in contact with anybody. But one night of really good sex and the whole, like, you're healed, you're good. The sun
Crack.
is shining, you talk to your neighbor for the first time, you suddenly start laughing, making friends, getting invited to things at work, all from one night. Like, really?
A dick?
and it wasn't
For real?
even like that's where I'm like, y'all literally just had sex. There was no other conversation
No,
for you to
nothing.
like, wow, like he really understood me for who I was,
No.
and better. Like, girl,
Nigga didn't even give you a hug.
he literally fucked you and had you walking on gravel with your damn feet bleeding,
Yes.
and now like, oh wow, like I just can't get over him,
Now
huh?
I'm magically healed, and all the trauma I've experienced over the last, I think it's supposed to be 1 year. So,
It's
oh,
gone.
yeah, it's just gone. It's gone. I'm good now because I got laid, and getting laid fixes everything.
You
Like
know,
If
that.
only we wouldn't need any type of mental health support if all we had to do was get good dick.
I
Really,
wouldn't have a job, okay?
really. If that was the cure, ma'am, I wasn't sure where she was going with this. And then I also didn't like that she kept calling the underwear knickers. I know there's
Uh,
She's British.
uh,
somewhere else, and that's fine. But every time I read it, I literally was like, ugh, I don't like that is what those
There
are
is a
called.
few things that made me like, what was it? There was something they spelled tires. They spelled tires with a Y. And I was so confused. I'm like, I had to Google it. I'm like, is this just either a word I don't recognize or is tires just spelled funny? Apparently in the UK, they spelled tires with a Y. And that's how I was like, okay, so this Jade West is, I guess, British. And I had no idea. 'Cause
girl,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
telling you right now, books be doing that to me. Like it will be English the whole way through, and then all of a sudden it's British English. And I'm like, where
when
did this come from? Because I noticed that too. Like, what the hell?
and when I tell you knickers makes me think that we're in a whole different
Gag.
city. Like
Yeah.
I was like, hold up, what? I was like, I thought this was modern day. Why are we like? I tell you, as soon as I heard that, I was like,
Knickers.
are we in right now? Like, this is crazy. I don't like this word. Can we change it?
I
Like,
know it's true. I don't even know if they actually use that regularly.
that's
Nah.
what I was like. Is this like? a word that you guys use every day? Like that's why I was like, I thought this was, you know, like current day, but I guess maybe it's not. I don't know.
No, because you know what? Now that I think about it, I don't think because a friend of mine was talking about how she used to teach in the UK and they call underwear pants. And so she was talking about her pants and the kids in school just like they were elementary school kids and they just died of laughter. They're like, ha ha ha, Mrs. talked about her pants. And
Yeah,
though I don't know
see,
what knickers is, but I mean, I know what it is. I just don't understand how they were using it in this book. It was odd.
It
I yeah, it wasn't. And when we finally pieced together the ending, I just
it
Yeah.
wasn't getting sexy. Okay.
I it just wasn't there for me. Like the brother, the his son, where the
Yeah.
brother
So like with his son, like,
he's my son, and then in his head he's like, oh, I know this whole time like this could be my brother's son,
but you talking
and
about
then,
you didn't sleep with
like,
her.
and then the brother's like, just kidding, I
I
never even
never
slept
slept with her.
Why would you
Uh,
even mention that then? Like, what's the
with her.
point? I didn't understand that at all.
And then I feel like the fact that she died because the brother threw a cigarette somewhere
Murder.
yeah.
really hazardous material that was extremely flammable. So to me, that was just stupid because why are you smoking anyway around
Murder. He should have been
Yes.
tried.
He should be tried for
flammable?
murder.
So that part, she lost me there because I was just like, that makes no fucking sense. Like, I don't understand.
Did y'all not find her toxic though? Like Marion sounded like she was one of the most toxic women I've ever would have met. And like the fact that he was so head over heels talking about, oh, I love her, I miss her, and all of that stuff. I get she was your baby mama, but at the same time, like she did not sound like she was good for y'all.
No,
Mm-mm.
no, because every problem that they've ever had in that family over the last however long, all of it, like he just kept repeating in the book over and over again. I know what happened, Mariana.
Yeah.
Like,
It was
so
her
you
fault.
allowed this woman to destroy your whole family, to ruin a relationship with your brother, to complicate the relationship with your sister, make her choose sides, all because she played you. Like,
And then y'all still not
yeah,
over
and you're
it.
still obsessed with her. She's gone, she's dead,
Right.
and you're obsessed with her.
Right.
Life from the grave. That's crazy.
That's how
Yeah,
you know men hold on to stuff more than women
the women do.
because Abigail didn't tell us shit about her ex, but Leo told us everything we needed to know. Okay.
Everything. Yeah.
Literally was like, I had some problems, but dick to bomb. My problems are gone. So what's going on with you? And then he just had a plethora of fucking problems.
All the
I was
problems.
I was over it. Like when I got to the end, I was just fucking over it. Like I was like, can this book just end?
This
I'm
was
over it.
a DNF for me. Layla, if
Please.
you didn't come on the show, we would not have
You
finished
wouldn't
this,
have
I'm
finished it.
sure.
I was
Yeah.
so excited to read the book because I've never read anything by Jade West before, but I've heard people talk about her and it sounded interesting. Like I like dark romances. I like,
Yes.
like crazy characters that make no sense. But this, like there has to be logic behind the crazy. And like
Hmm.
this was just some of it just sounded like she was
Insane.
writing to get the reader thinking that this is all dark and ominous, but you have to like make your story make sense. And if you don't make it make sense, then none of it pieces together well. So now you just have like two people that fucked a couple times, fell head over heels, are obsessed with their exes to like unhealthy degrees. I get it with Leo. Okay, fine. You watched her burn and you heard her scream, and those are the last things that you heard. All of that makes sense, but he doesn't even talk about that until I think towards the end. The whole time he's just focusing on the relationship. Whereas if
And all the
I
wild
lost,
sex they were having.
yeah, exactly. But then, like, you lost somebody, she died, and your whole focus is the relationship, not that last really severe trauma that you just experienced. Watching somebody die in front of your face, like, that's not a thing that you get over because you had really good sex and you found somebody who gets your kink.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, I'm over it. Man, if that was the way to like get over every kind of grief, none of us would need any type of mental health support. We'd just go and find a really good fuck buddy and we'd be done.
I'm like, leave it alone.
Depression. Here,
don't
Yeah,
try
just
sex.
have good
Okay.
sex. It's okay.
therapist. I truly felt like he just needs therapy. I'm like,
Yeah.
you don't need to be
Yes.
sleeping with
Yes.
anybody. You need therapy. That's what you need.
Both of them needed therapy. Honestly, we all
Hmm.
need therapy for reading the damn book, but they needed therapy more than we did. Where's the condoms? There were no condoms in this
No,
book.
and she
STDs
literally
everywhere.
said at one point, Abigail literally goes, I know I should have used contraception, but like, or I should get tested for STIs.
But I trust them,
And
bitch.
I just know. What do you mean you just know? How do you know? Your intuition tells you that you're like, you don't have AIDS. Okay, great. Like,
You don't even know what this man does in his free time. Like
exactly.
you know nothing about him. So the fact
You
that you don't like you need to protect yourself because you're like, I just know what information do you know? You don't even know his name, but you know that like you're not gonna get anything from him because you just know. I what?
you found him on a just a random website, like a literal online dark web ass, because it had to be the dark web if you're over here asking for CNC. And so like you're really deep into the internet and you ask this man to come and have sex with you. How do you know he didn't have that with other people? How do you know?
No, it's true. I mean, you're just supposed to trust. You're supposed to just trust, because that's what her intuition said.
I'd be damned.
I loved it. It just made me laugh when she said, I'm like, are you crazy? Like, I hope like this isn't somebody's like first read into
Oh.
smut, because this would be, it's
Horrible.
like reading 50 Shades of Grey. Like, it would just,
It,
you know?
uh,
Damn.
although like it really I had asked Tavia earlier in the week, like she was like, oh, how's it going? And I told her like we have a special guest coming on the show, so I'm gonna finish the book. But I told her like I really don't like this book and I really don't care to finish it. Like I really don't want to finish it, but I'm gonna, so we can finish the episode.
Things
But
actually do. For
it was
me,
just
the beginning is the opposite. Like at the beginning, I had to force myself to keep on going because it was slow and it was boring. And I was like, okay, what is going on with this book? But I'm like, okay, I'm going to be on this podcast. I don't really want to cancel on them, but I have to keep on going. And then towards the end, I enjoyed it. Like I can't say I hated it or that it would have been a DNF, but definitely as the story kept going, I liked it a little bit better, but there was definitely moments where, like I said, I just kind of I rolled my eyes or I chuckled, and that definitely wasn't the author's intention, but it still
yeah.
made me laugh.
Yeah.
I agree. So overall, would you recommend this book? I'm gonna go ahead and say no because I like I said I agree with Layla. Like I really don't think this is a good book for someone who's starting to read smut. I'm like, if that's what, don't start with this book.
No,
I
Just
agree. I'm
I
not recommending this to anybody as their, especially not their first book.
not as a
But
first book. I did not
yeah,
like the storyline, and I didn't like. I guess I would call it, I don't know, plot holes. What I would call like everything kind of we went over, but I don't mind her writing style. Like I enjoyed the way she
yeah,
would paint certain scenes or like how she would describe things in detail. But like it was really there was one scene where what was the name of the son? Like the little boy?
uh
Cam, was it Cam?
yeah, yeah,
Him?
I think
Yeah. So he was like testing Leo. He was playing on like one of those like little horses in the park, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and he was waiting for dad to break his fall and he didn't, which sometimes you do need to do with children, like let them get hurt, let them fall. But it was such a really cool way of describing the way this kid just had his eyes on his dad and was just like waiting to see, like, is my dad going to react? Because so far, since my mom died, everything has been my way. Like I've gotten everything I wanted. He was still in a high chair. He was still peeing in the bed and all of those things, which are really normal for kids who experience loss. But the way Jade West described the scene and a lot of others, like that was really cool. And I enjoyed that. So I would tell somebody, maybe try a different book, read a few reviews and see if like there's something else, because her writing is really good. Just this particular story, like it just wasn't it.
Yeah,
I,
I agree. I liked her writing. I did commend her writing a few times, like talking about it, but it just wasn't. I guess it just wasn't the book for me
I agree.
personally.
Yeah.
I agree. So all three of us agree this was just not the book for us, but I mean, some people, hey, this might be for you. I just don't like the repetition. Like I really thought we were gonna get some diverse sex scenes.
Hmm.
Like I thought, okay, they're gonna have, this first little intro, but then I really thought that if they were going to end up being together, like it was gonna develop differently. And I just didn't get that. It was just like, okay, we're gonna have just the same sex scene over and over, and then we're just somehow gonna be in love with each other and want to be with each other forever. Like that didn't connect to me because I was like, there's no in between. You guys haven't even talked about anything. You don't even know each other. So
You
how
know
are you
nothing. Like not even each other's
are
birthday, not even each other's. He knows her last name and she knows only his first name. And
The
suddenly she's in love.
yes.
Yeah, like you don't even know anything about this man. And then the stuff that you do know is all trauma bonding. So it's
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
absolutely nothing that's beyond the surface. Like you don't know his parents' name, you don't know anything, and
Mhm.
you're in love and you
Yeah.
trust him not to give you a STD, and you're ready to meet his sister and his son and his brother and whatever the hell else, and it did not line up.
See, at least Adeline put up a fight. You know, Zayd was stalking her and she put up a
Period.
bit of a fight before she gave in. This one's just like, nah, man, like I got you. You hit my kinks and I'm in love.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, like I said, she was looking for her like hit a crack, and she was just like, when I find it, it's gonna give me everything I need, and I'm just gonna keep chasing my high.
Yeah, because
And
girl
but
said you crackhead. Like you gonna keep coming back, but I just didn't think the scenes described it as
yeah,
that good for her to be so addicted to him. Like it
yeah.
just it didn't give that for me. Like
Did you guys have any favorite sex scenes?
I'll say the only one that I liked was when they were at what was that, like her work party,
Yes.
and
Yes,
they ended
Yes.
up in that hallway. Like I was like, finally, we're getting something else. So I
different.
really enjoyed that sex scene because it was like, okay, like you could see your friends, but they can't see you, and they don't know what I'm doing to you. They don't even know I'm here. And so, like, I liked that sex scene. I was like, finally, we're getting something else than just the same old scene over and over and over again.
I did have that one down in my notes as one of my favorites because I was like, he was kind of tempting her different, but it was mediocre to me still.
Yeah,
I agree. That's literally the only one that I liked. All the others were boring. Like I'm like,
that's
yeah.
like the same one scene of the book.
Yeah.
That's very, that's very sad.
Yeah.
Okay,
Did you guys have any favorite quotes?
I didn't.
What about you, Layla?
I don't know. I'm looking actually now. I'm like checking my notes. Was there anything I really liked? You go ahead if
Uh,
you've got one.
I put he'll chase me and hurt me and pretend I don't want it, but I will. And I was like, that one's just like the one that stuck out to me the absolute most. That was it. But it was just
That's a good one. That's a really good quote.
Nothing for
shoot.
me. There was nothing that there was a couple that I highlighted as not like I didn't like I liked the quote. I didn't like what the character did, if that makes sense. So I wrote, there's a scene where she says, I feel invisible again, just like I did with Stephen in the aftermath of the great explosion, which now reading back, I find annoying because I didn't know what the great explosion was at the time. And then questioning whether this meant anything at all because he ghosted her. It's when Leo had ghosted her for like, I don't know, I think it was 3 weeks or something like that. So I
Oh,
highlighted it because it made me feel something like as, when I was like more in the dating scene, I've been ghosted and it really sucks to feel that way. And I felt a little bit of what she felt and it got me curious about what was the great explosion? What happened? Who's this Steven guy? And then, yeah, but that was kind of it.
Yeah, I didn't really normally reading these type of dark romances. Like I have normally a couple scenes that I'm like, ooh, like I like that quote, but this one just, I think I really just wanted to finish the book so I could be done
Mm-hmm.
reading it. So I think I was
Usually,
just
like,
like,
I can highlight so many quotes in a book that I really
yeah,
enjoyed. Whereas
For
this one,
real.
I was like 60 or 70% of the way through. I'm like, I haven't highlighted anything. Like, I'm going to
mm,
talk to some people about this book, and there's nothing I can say that really stood out to me at 70% of the book.
well, we're
Dang.
on the same page. All three of us seem to be on the same page about this book. So yeah, I'm gonna have to say I would not recommend this.
It
Be
was nice
around
to be
this
able to like
topic at
talk to
all.
someone. I don't talk to anybody about these books. Like I just kind of read them on my own and then I go on like Facebook and I talk in the groups and that's kind of it because my husband couldn't care less. He's like, "Are you reading another one of those romance books again?" So I'm like, "Yeah."
I just told her earlier I started this book that was like about mermaids, and my husband's like, "Are you reading about mermaids fucking?" And I was like, "I read about everything fucking. Whatever, whatever it is, I'm gonna read it.
If they
So
fucking, count me
if
in,
they fucking,
okay?
I'm reading it. Okay, so just know."
No, for real. Layla, you'll have to like message us and like talk about it with us because we don't mind. Like we'll talk about a book with you because that's all we do.
I love it.
That's
Definitely, definitely. Because yeah, like I said, it was good. I don't have any friends who read, and well, I don't have any friends who read, period. So it's nice to be able
yeah.
to have people to talk to this about.
That's literally why we started this podcast. Is we always be talking about our crazy books that we read, and we were like, let's just start a podcast where we just talk about literally our unhinged books that we read because we're like she's my only friend that reads. None of my other friends read, so
Right.
so I'm like, let's just start a podcast so we can just talk about this. Because when you read a book that's so crazy, like you're like, oh my god, I have to talk about this with someone. Like I
Yeah.
cannot keep it in. I need to have a discussion.
I agree. That's exactly how I feel. Usually I end up going on like Facebook or like a spicy book talk group and just like writing in there. And then sometimes people respond and sometimes I get nobody. I'm like, I just want to talk to somebody.
Talk to me about this damn book. I need to just
Exactly.
this.
Well, tell us about any spicy books you read because we're definitely making a list for the year. So, like, if you have book recommendations or anybody has book recommendations, like, definitely share them with us.
Or if you would like to come back for one of these other books.
Yes.
Yeah,
Discuss
100%.
it.
I would definitely do it again. This was so much fun. Like I said, it was just nice to talk to other people and like have a reason to read a book. Like I finished this maybe in a day or two, I think. But the first half took me, I think, 2 weeks to just get started. I kept putting it down and I'm like, okay, this is boring. And then as it got closer and closer to the date, I'm like, oh my God, okay, I need to finish this. So then I just like read it in a day or two just to get it done and over with. But
Yeah, I definitely understand that. So if
Yeah, same.
I'm like, we put out our monthly list of what we're gonna read for the month. But in the future, any of the books that you are reading or also want to read with us, you're more than welcome to come back on and discuss with us because you were
Yes.
such a great special guest.
oh, I would love to. Definitely. I'll for sure come back again.
Yes, we enjoyed it. We love all of our special guests, and we want everyone to come back and do another episode.
Thank you guys for having me, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank
Yes, thank you
you.
for coming on. Thank everybody for listening.
Join us next week where we will be reviewing Pen Pal.